Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. I'm your host, Aseer the Duke of Tears. Thank you guys for all the support you've shown me over the years. I wanted to get into some of the crazy things that have been going on since the last time we spoke. My apologies for not being so much in the virtual world, but again, when you're living in the real world and you're starting to make real things happen, it's hard to just stop that and then tape it every so often. So I like to get actual really work done and then give you guys an update. So one of the big things that's happening, we like to go over global news. One of the biggest things that's happening here in the United States is that the Census Bureau in 2020 is basically putting out a mandatory edict that basically says that anybody that has so-called black ethnicity, which really is not an ethnicity, but anybody that's claiming black, they're going to have to actually define what type of black they are. Because when you fill out a Census Bureau census documentation, what you're doing is you're participating in the colorable aspect of law. Because census is based upon the fact that whenever a government is trying to keep its power base intact, what it does is it uses censuses as a means to denationalize or demarcate or marginalize certain groups of people based upon how they identify themselves. So it used to be back in the days when they would come to our people in the South and ask them about how many people they had in their family and this and that, we would never tell them the real. We wouldn't tell them exactly how many people or how much numbers we had, because we knew that they were going to try to use this to basically denationalize us and take property away. So the U.S. Census Bureau is responsible for not only the denationalization of so-called black people in mass, but along with the Department of the Interior, along with the Office of Land Management, these people have worked systematically since the founding of the United States to formally demarginalize and demarcate so-called melanated people who are the indigenous inhabitants of North, Central, and South America. They try to denationalize them to the point that they can hold on to this land in what they call in perpetuum, which means in perpetuity, meaning forever. So the only way they're going to be able to do that is to solidify and create a basis for them to not only strategically marginalize black people, but to get black people basically to admit to the fact that they are foreign, or at least foreign to the land, so that way they can try to link them into some scheme to bring them back to so-called Africa. One of the things your man Trump is doing right now, believe it or not, is he's going over the numbers as to how much money it's going to cost to repatriate people back to Africa. So to me, that only is really responsible for those of us that subscribe to that aspect of our so-called African descent. But we as Moors or Moorish Americans, we are, let's say, of African descent, but we are not of African nativity. We are Al-Muracanos Estados nativity. We are Al-Maghreb, Al-Aqsa nativity. We are so-called North, Central, and South America nativity. But this is also happening on the precipice of another new colonial expansion going on in Africa right now. One of the things that's happening is that Ghana, I don't know what's up with the government of Ghana, man. Y'all Ghanans, my Ghanaian people, y'all need to highlight them, man, and really shut this shit down. Because the Ghanaian people, the Ghanaian government just signed a deal with the United States basically to set up a bunch of military bases in Ghana, like 20 military bases in and around the kingdom, or the Islamic Republic of Ghana, which to me is a coup d'etat, which means to me it looks like that they're trying to basically do what they did to Libya, but now they're trying to go more into the interior of Africa to do it. And if the Ghanaian government is stupid enough to let that happen, it's the Ghanaian people's situation. They got to go in and switch that up. All of this is in contravention to what's happening to the EFF, who are the Economic Freedom faction or party or whatever in South Africa, that are not only seizing all of the land from the so-called white colonialists, aka Afrikaners, aka Boers, aka foreigners, The South African government is the first government in history to ever lock up a Caucasian person for racism. So let's give them a round of applause, because they think, see over there, they don't call you Negroes or niggas, they call you Kafirs. So they had some Caucasian lady that got tired and basically called a bunch of black police officers Kafirs, to the point that she Kafired them to death. So now they done sentenced her to 3 years in jail. Could you imagine if they had a law like that here in the United States? If they did, they wouldn't pass it to stop niggas from saying nigga though. It would be something to stop you from saying kike or guap, or wop or something like that. But getting closer to home now, we're now at a stage now in terms of what is happening domestically with us. One of the biggest things that's going on without them really talking about is the reorganization of the American dollar system to basically be backed again by gold and silver. So this is the best time, brothers and sisters, for you to start to accumulate as much gold as you can, as much silver dollars as you can. Because if and when they implement this gold-backed dollar again, see, Trump is crazy. He's a Gemini, so he'll do something on one face to make you look really whack, and then on the other hand, he'll do something that's really dope. So on one hand, he basically is endorsing white supremacy and the killing of black people by not sanctioning any of the Caucasian police that have been shooting and killing black people. But on the other hand, he's deading mandatory vaccinations across the country. That's dope. On the other hand, he's talking about putting gold back behind the money. That's dope. On the other hand, he's talking about taking the United States out of the what was it called? The NAFTA and the GATT. That's dope. That's pretty dope. But at the same time, he's still the devil. So you can't necessarily take it all on face value. You could only take the parts of it that's relevant to us. So all of these black people, they had a I won't even talk about that. That's not important. The other thing I was going to talk about was the fact that based upon this subsidy and based upon Trump creating such a divisive or divisive element within the so-called United States government, what's happening now, you have whole factions of parts of the U.S. government fighting against other parts of the U.S. government. And what's happening is forcing the state governments to function almost as autonomous little subsidiaries of the major whole, which then goes against their corporate chartered mandate, because they're all technically, since the Civil War, they've all been directly under the jurisdiction of Washington, D.C. So you have certain states that'll put things out to try to like do away with it and try to act like they're not doing that, but technically they are all still in the compact of the Union that goes back to the Magna Carta, that goes back to the subjugation of original black people. So in order for us to get what we need to get popping, what has to happen is that everybody has to coalesce around the identity that they are going to be known as, that is going to represent them as a nationality. Which is why they're creating this thing now for black people that says if you saying that you black, you got to define where that is in the world as per nationality. And as it stands to this date, I have never heard an African nation ever put out a mandate that says that we want to repatriate all of the Africans that our people over here sold to y'all over there. Have y'all? I mean, maybe Ghana put out a little edict that says that they apologize for it. But those people who have gone to Africa and they've gone to what they call the point of the port of no return and all of that type of shit, like what you gotta understand is this, man. If they can show you a dinosaur bone from 250 million years ago, but they can't show you an intact slave ship from 250 years ago, they lying to you about how the whole thing started, period. And all of these people that's been out here talking about Aboriginal this, Aboriginal American, Autochthonous American, American, this, and that, look, none of y'all would know about any of that shit if it wasn't for the Moorish Science Temple of America. Excuse me, or the Moorish Holy Temple of Science of the world. None of y'all would be talking to any of this about y'all was always here in America if it wasn't for Moors being out here, putting out the work, backing legislation, challenging jurisdiction and all the stuff we've been doing all these years. And so how did they repay the Moors to do that? They start putting out stuff to defame our character, talking about how our prophet was a Freemason, or talking about how he was part of this or that. And now it's to the point now where you have so much conjecture that it's replaced active research. It's replaced active cohesive thinking. So what you have now, brothers and sisters, that were in the conscious community, we have to now almost devolve it or involve it now into what I will refer to as the subconscious community. We've got to actively go within the recesses and become subconscious in order for us to reestablish our consciousness. Because all of the agents that's been out here setting up the debate cultures, these are the niggas that's right now coming back out trying to reorganize themselves and trying to act like they had some sort of nationality-backed dogma or rhetoric when they don't. Like, what you gotta understand is that some of us been on this when it wasn't cool. Some of us been building on this type of understanding about the divine and national movement when Moors wasn't even talking about an empire. When I came into the game, nobody was talking about that. The only person I know that was really building on the Moorish empire like that, big up Hakeem Bey, Moorish paradigm. I was like the only person I remember really building on the empire. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I would big up, again, the Principess, Prince Uriel Bey, bless the dead. He's another one that went into it. Myself, and C. Freeman L., bless the dead. C. Freeman L., one of the greatest astrologers that has ever lived on the planet that most of our people have never even heard of. And again, that's not his fault. That's not anybody's fault. That is our fault, because we have created a system where we do not respect the people who are out here trying to bring us the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to upgrade ourselves out of the dismal crypt that we've been in for the past 246 years, inshallah. So what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is that now is the time that if you're trying to declare nationality, this is the best time for you to do it. Because this is the only time in history, you gotta understand, we're the first people in history in over 247 years to reconsolidate ourselves and strive to repatriate ourselves back to an empire that we are the beneficiaries of, that we are the heirs of. So whenever you see these blacks come on TV talking about Moors ain't this and Moors ain't that, the people that have the most to say about Moors are the people who usually just found out about who the fuck we was. And that is to say that most of the people speaking against you are the people that don't want you to be yourself. They want to tie you up to some African. They want to tie you up to some Indian. They want to tie you up to some other nationality that has nothing to do with your vine and fig tree, who you have chosen to be, who you descend from. We, as the Free National Descent name, we are Moors or Moroccans, but the modern version of that, the ancient names of that was Moabite, Phoenician, Carthaginian. Carthaginian is actually where we get the term Africa from, because afar or apar in ancient Punic Latin meant that which is the farthest. So we're talking about the ancient Carthaginians, the ancient Phoenicians. These are the modern day Moroccans, the ancient Al-Moroccans that exist here in the Al-Maghreb Al-Aqsa, what we refer to as the Morocco of the farthest west. These Negroes that's talking to you about Morocco was founded in 1956, they right, but that's the kingdom that was founded by a bunch of Haggarine Arabs. That ain't got nothing to do with the people who established the Treaty of Peace and Friendship in 1787. Before there was the United States, before there was a Britain, before there was a Spain, before there was a Belgium. None of these places existed. Before them places existed, we was Moors. Before there was a religion of Islam, we was Moors. We the same thing that we always been. The problem is, everybody wants you to be what the modern perception of that is. But I don't want to be what somebody else tell me I am. I want to be what I know I am. And what I know I am is what my ancestors were before me. And I have a documentation from the Smithsonian that actually lists all the tribes that the Moors basically helped found from the 1600s on. But when we go to the 1600s before, we're getting into the ancient aspect of the Moors, of who we are. So when we start to do the knowledge to that, we find out that we've been in Morocco for over 1 million years. So how are y'all niggas just dating yourself with a constitution? How are y'all niggas just dating yourself with a treaty, a piece of friendship? You've been here over 1 million years, and you using a goddamn piece of paper that was only damn near only 200 years old? And you wonder why these crackers is back and forth with us, banging us in the head, knocking fences off? Because we're not accepting who we are. Because we are going back and forth, debating one each other, and talking about, oh, well, I'm this, so long as everybody co-sign me being there. Nigga, be yourself. Be who you was meant to be. I can't be no other place in the world right now because Allah has me right here. And when I say Allah, I'm not talking about some religion. I'm talking about the arm, leg, arm, head. I'm talking about the archetype of all creation. And you can't quantify that in a specific date because the Nation of Islam has no birth record. Every time we reach our history for 25,000 years, we renew it for another 25,000 years. So you niggas don't even know how long you've been here. So again, as we put this in a bow, I want you all to know that you have a distinct identity that's not dictated or is backed by a dictum of any other nation. And that every other nation in the world technically knows who and what you are. The problem is, you are trying to define yourself by them. You got black people right now that's banging, that's hating on this nigga, the one that they just killed, Stephon Clark, another one they just killed. And the black women that's hating on him because he didn't like black women. Well, what does that have to do with the fact that they still murdered this melanated person? Isn't this nigga, wasn't his mother black? So you don't even have no respect for his mother? So because he didn't like black women, or he had an issue or whatever the fuck he was living with in life, he done paid for it with his life. And you people don't even have the compassion enough to have compassion at least for his mother? And then you wonder why they kill niggas every 5, 10 a week. Because you don't stand behind your own. These crackers don't give a damn what they do. The nigga that they have police that have shot and killed people, and they got GoFundMe pages the same day that they get arrested. And these niggas is making G's off of that. But no, the black women, we gonna hate on him because he didn't like us. That's some nigger shit. That's some slave shit. You understand? Just because I may not have respected, I don't agree with the nigga. I looked at the text and what he said about black women and all that, but that don't mean nothing because he's dead. Maybe if he had a chance to live, he could have gotten a better understanding of sisters. But you sisters is so willing to be the new white man that you're willing to just cut this nigga off and anybody else. And it's horrible. It's killing us. Your apathy towards the black man is killing us. This sister that's married to Gary Owens, that's a house nigga. The fact that you would sit there and let him call another black man nigga for this white, but this is what I'm saying. This is why they're killing our babies out here. Because the brain dead black woman is the new white man. The so-called gay for paid black man is the new white man. And these niggas that will sit there and defame their own and constantly shit on their own to make themselves look like they got more than you, that's your enemy. That's your enemy. It ain't Gary Owen, it's his wife. It ain't him. You know what I'm saying? It ain't these niggas that's out here trying to be out here trying to hold the hood down. It ain't even the drug dealers no more. The biggest killers in the United States right now are the white nationalists. White male nationalists. There is nobody that is killing more people in the United States than white males. You hear me? White males. Y'all the ones that's out here murdering everybody right now. Because guess what? Niggas is tired of going to jail. They ain't going no more. So the only way that you're going to be able to pop this race war is to activate all your triggered sleepers, all these white males out of here or whatever, and then they go shoot up a school, shoot up a church, shoot up with this, and these niggas get off. They get taken alive. Meanwhile, I got to shit a brick every time a pig pull me over, because that could be the last pullover for me. I don't even have to have a gun no more for them to shoot niggas. And The fact that Caucasian people, the fact that black people, the fact that Asian people, the fact that Latin people, nobody is causing an uproar where we are actually going and storming the fucking White House to stop this shit, lets me know that everybody has a vested interest in the sacrifice of the Asiatic black man. You scared of the black male. He's scared of himself. And the black woman, the brain-dead black woman, I'm not talking about all sisters, but the so-called brain-dead black woman, she is the bane of all of our existence. I'm telling you. She is out here working hard.